All right, so we're going to start making the FK controllers for the arm, and then we will continue on for the other elements. So we could do any number of things. So if you look at these controllers, you can see that basically we just use NURBS curves, NURBS circles, but it's a little bit boring. So we're going to do something a little bit different. We're going to just make some custom ones instead. So um, also, if I tried to use the circle in here, it wouldn't look very good. It'd be difficult to grab. So we're going to do something a little bit different. We're just going to make a custom one instead. So watch me than you do. I'm just going to go to top view. We're going to go to create. We're going to go to curves, CV curve tool, hit the option box, and make sure you're back on cubic. Okay. Um, and here we go. So I'm going to hold X. I'm basically going to use the grid in order to draw out my curves. So we will, I'm going to go here. Then I'm going to go 1 over, 2 over, 2 over, 1 over, 1 here. Okay. And let me get a little bit closer so you can see. Okay. Then I'm not going to start drawing up because it'll be a curve. So I'm going to still hold X. I'm just holding X as I did each one of those. And I'm going to click next to this 2 more times. 1, 2. Okay. And now what we're going to do is we are going to go up this way. So we'll just do some odd amount. Doesn't really matter. We'll just do, let's say, to here. Okay. Then I'm going to hold X and go 1, 2. All right. Then we're going to go 1 over, 2 up, 2 over, 2 down, and 1 over. And let's do another one and another one. All right. And then we'll hit enter. Now you'll notice that this one looks a little bit better than this one. And that's because I didn't do the 3 because it's just basically a curve. But now I've got this sort of interesting looking shape. All right. With this selected, I'm just going to go modify center pivot. And you'll see the pivot is now there. Before it would have been on origin. I'm going to switch to the side view here. I'm going to go ahead and, or perspective. I'm going to go ahead and scale this up. What we're going to do is we're just going to snap this to this joint. And just to make things easier, I'm going to turn the geometry off. And I'm going to hold, I'll make sure I hit W for the move tool. I'm going to hold V for point snap, middle mouse button, wiggle waggle, and get it there. Okay. So now I have this little thing and it kind of sticks out on both sides. And I'm just going to hit R to scale it until it's an appropriate size. So we'll see something like that. Sticks out a little bit more on this side. So you could always just go grab the things there and just bring them in a little bit. But basically it's a little bit easier now. You can see that's better than if I just had a curve. Okay. So that's, that's one controller. So let's go ahead and make these other ones. And I'm just going to kind of do something similar maybe for the shoulder controller. I think if I did a circle, it's going to be kind of in the way. So we're just going to build something maybe over top of this instead. So let's go ahead and do that. So I'll hit Y to bring the curve tool back up again. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to point snap. And I'm going to use the shoulder itself to make the controller. So what we'll do is I'm going to snap, let's say, to this point. I'm going to hold V for point snap. I'm going to click 1. We'll just do 1. That's fine. And I'm just going to hold V, click here. And I'm going to hold V. We'll put 1 here. And then I'll hold V here. And then I'm just going to click here. Snap there. It doesn't have to be perfect because we're kind of just winging it. Boom. And then we'll put 1, let's say, here. And then I'm going to put 1 back there. And then I'll hit enter. And I'll just pull it up. And you can kind of see we made basically this kind of curve. Right? So could have made it a little bit better. But you get kind of the idea, right? So this will be my shoulder controller right there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and do modify center pivot on it again. And I'm just going to move it down and over, kind of like how I want it, something like that, we'll say. And I'm just going to hold D for move pivot and B for point snap. And I'm just going to point snap it to the shoulder controller area. And that looks a little bit better. All right, now we're going to do the next controllers here. So we have an elbow and we have a wrist. So I just want to show you a couple different ways of basically making things. So we'll go ahead and I'm going to make one for here. This time let's go to create, NURBS primitives. You do not want to use a square. I'm just going to show you real quick why. Is that if you look at the square, frame on it, you're like, oh, it looks great. It's actually made of 4 singular lines, which is not helpful for us. So we're going to undo that. Okay. And what we're going to do instead is go to create, NURBS primitives. We'll do a circle, hit the option box. This time, let's go ahead and in the number of sections, let's just make that 4. And then we're also going to make it linear. And we'll hit create. And that's going to make, let's make it bigger. I'm just going to scale it bigger. It's going to make a square. So because then we did linear, so it means it's not going to be curved. So now I'm just going to take that and I'm just going to V for point snap, and I'm just going to point snap it. Hang on. Let's go back over here. V, and we're just going to point snap it right to the elbow, which I did not. V, spread. Yeah, there we go. Like that. Okay. And once again, I'm just going to scale it an appropriate size, and we'll rotate it so it kind of matches a little bit better the direction and stuff of my actual elbow. So I'm going to say something like that. Not the nicest looking thing, but it gets the job sort of done. Let's move it over this way a little bit, and I'll just hold it D and V, and then I'll just point snap the pivot there. Okay, so we'll call that good enough. All right, now let's do one for the wrist. Now we could do any number of things for the wrist, but let's try and make something even fancier. So actually, I got an idea. Let's do this. We'll just do kind of the same technique again. Create nurse primitives. We'll do the circle. This time, let's do, normally it's 8. Let's do 16. And let's 16. Yeah, we'll do 16. We'll do linear. Now, what this is going to do is I'm going to look at it from the top here. Let's scale it bigger. It's going to look kind of like a circle, right? So you can see it's linear. But now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go to every other one here. Okay. And we'll just scale that in so it makes this star shape. Okay. You can get really fancy with these. Usually, to be honest with you, I usually make pretty fancy ones, but I think they're actually more distracting when you think about it than they're helpful. And then I'm just going to go ahead and snap it to the wrist here. Let's turn that back on. Sometimes it's easier just to turn that off so you can snap it there. And again, I'm just going to kind of rotate it, get it roughly the size and scale that I desire. So we'll say something like that. That looks good. Okay. Now what we want to do is go through and just change all these colors. So I'm just going to go to this one and go to the attribute editor, go down to object display, drawing overrides, enable overrides. And these are all going to be FK controllers. So I'm just going to go ahead and make them all yellow. Good. We'll grab this one, enable, drawing overrides, enable overrides. Make this one also yellow. And grab this one, enable overrides, make it also yellow. Now you can change them and make them all different colors. It really doesn't matter. Different people got different ways. A really common technique is people will make one side, like their right side red and the left side blue. I'm not a huge fan of that method just because we don't really need wireframe unshaded anymore. Because I just don't find it like supremely helpful. Okay, so that looks pretty good. I'm just going to make all the controllers first, and that way it'll just be easier to deal with. So let's go ahead and I'm going to grab this one, and let's rename all these. So this will be Logan underscore clavicle underscore L. I'm sorry, clavicle controller underscore L underscore CRV. Good. And then we'll do this one, and this will be Logan underscore shoulder controller underscore L underscore CRV. And Logan underscore elbow controller underscore L underscore CRV. And Logan underscore, we'll call it hand controller underscore L underscore CRV. Okay, those all look acceptable. Let's grab them all. Not that it's going to super matter, but we're going to grab all of them. Let's just do modify freeze transformations, edit, delete by type, not delete all by type, delete by type history. That way it only does it on these objects. Okay, next what I'm going to do is, again, have them all selected. And we're going to group them. Control G to make a duplicate. Then I'm going to Control D to duplicate, or I'm sorry, we're going to group them together with a Control G. Then we're going to duplicate them with Control D. Then I'm going to scale them -1 to scale them to the other side. And before I go through and unparent them, because they'll all have to have like a 1 on them, we're just going to go through and we're going to select them all here first. We're going to go Modify, Search and Replace Names, and we're going to search for underscore L underscore and replace with underscore R underscore and hit Apply. And now you see they're all underscore R's. And then with them selected, I'm going to hit Shift P to unparent them. and we're going to go modify freeze transformations, because you'll see that they have, see the scale is negative and this is rotate Y. So we don't want that. So we're just going to freeze the transforms. I'm going to go to this group, select all of these and hit Shift P. These will be fine because that's the way they originally were. I'm going to grab the two groups we made just to flip it, and we're going to get rid of them. Okay. So now I have my controllers for both sides. I just did it in one file swoop, a little bit easier. So we're not like doing the same process over and over and over again. So hopefully that makes some sense what we did. In the next video, what we're going to do is we're going to start hooking these up.